In 1912, a rare manuscript collector named Wilfrid Voynich purchased several old books from an ancient monastery in Italy. Among them was a handwritten manuscript that, at first glance, didn't seem very different from the others. But as Voynich began examining its pages, he realized he was holding something far from ordinary. The book was completely filled with writing, yet no one could read a single word of it. The alphabet used in the manuscript resembles no known language. It looks nothing like Latin or any other written system, but the strange part is this: the text does not appear random. Certain words repeat, and specific patterns appear consistently throughout the book. This suggests that the manuscript follows a real structure. In other words, it could either be an undeciphered language or an incredibly sophisticated system. After Voynich discovered the book, it quickly attracted the attention of the scientific community. Linguists studied it, cryptographers analyzed it, and even codebreakers who worked during wartime attempted to understand the text. Yet the result never changed. Not a single word has ever been definitively translated. The manuscript contains around 240 pages and tens of thousands of words. This raises an important question. If the text is a hoax, then someone would have had to maintain an extremely consistent system across hundreds of pages. That seems highly unlikely, especially because modern analyses suggest the text behaves much like a real language. But what makes the Voynich manuscript truly fascinating is not just the writing. The illustrations inside are just as mysterious as the text itself. The botanical drawings are especially intriguing. The plants resemble real species, yet none of them match any known plant exactly. They look familiar, but at the same time, strangely alien. The book also contains stars, circular symbols, and complex diagrams. At first glance, they resemble maps of the sky, but they do not fully match any known astronomical system. The manuscript appears scientific, yet it doesn't align with any recognized body of knowledge. One of the strangest sections features human figures. These pages mostly depict women, many of whom appear inside bizarre tubes or containers. Some seem to float in liquid, while others appear connected as part of a larger system. The scenes feel as though they are describing some kind of experiment, but exactly what kind remains unclear. When all of these elements come together, one question becomes impossible to ignore. What is this book truly saying, and why has no one been able to decode it? The first theory proposed was that the manuscript is a cipher. In other words, the text contains real meaning, but it has been deliberately hidden. However, perfectly encrypting such a long and structured text would have been extremely difficult, especially for its time. Another theory claims the manuscript could be entirely fabricated. Perhaps someone simply created meaningless text designed to look organized and convincing. But this explanation is also difficult to accept. Detailed studies show that the text is far too systematic to be purely random. Some researchers believe the manuscript may belong to a lost language. It could have been written by a civilization that vanished without leaving traces behind. While this idea is possible, one would still expect at least some similarities to known languages.
Yet the Voynich manuscript appears completely unique in its structure. Another possibility is that the manuscript is actually a source of hidden knowledge. Information about plants, the human body, or the stars may have been intentionally concealed. In other words, the book may have been written in a way that only certain people could understand. But perhaps the most unsettling possibility is this: maybe the manuscript was never meant to be understood at all. Perhaps whatever knowledge it contains was deliberately hidden forever. There is no proof of this, but the fact that the book remains undeciphered even today makes the idea difficult to ignore. Today, the Voynich manuscript is still preserved in a library, and people from all around the world continue trying to decode it. Technology has advanced dramatically, yet the outcome remains the same. The writing still cannot be read. In the end, we are left with a book whose true nature remains unknown. Is it a language, a cipher, or an elaborate deception? No one knows for certain. But one thing is clear. For nearly 500 years, this manuscript has waited to be solved, and perhaps it never truly will be. And maybe the real question is this: If one day you had the chance to learn what this book actually says, would you really want to read it?